they'll grow out of it. Don't worry, they'll grow out of the colic, the constipation, the ear infections, whatever is going on. I don't care the topic. That drives me crazy. And listen, so many of the families that we talk to, it drives you crazy too, right? In your gut, your sort of intuition, your mom gut, your instinct tells you that that doesn't make sense. You don't want anything to do with just waiting for them to grow out of it. It drives me crazy for a few reasons. One, because it just doesn't help, right? Let's say you are dealing with a fussy baby, or they're spitting up, or they can't poop, or they're having these ear infections over and over again. What does that do for you, right? What are you doing in that moment when you get the advice of, oh, don't worry, they will just grow out of it? It doesn't help you get through the day. It doesn't help you get through the hour with that struggling child. But to make it even worse, it's just not true. What we've seen is that that doesn't bear out. Even though the symptom, the challenge, the label, the diagnosis that we might give that certain issue, that changes a little bit. It looks a little different. It manifests differently throughout the lifespan as that kid ages. It really doesn't go away. They don't grow out of that issue. They just grow into the next iteration of that. To be honest, some of the older kids that we work with, maybe they're school age, maybe they've been dealing with these things, they're teenagers already. They've got ADHD struggles. They're dealing with sensory processing issues, a ton of anxiety, or other neurodevelopmental struggles. What we found, and what really led to this work within pediatric chiropractic, is that more often than not, the start to life sounded a lot like what we're talking about, right? Maybe they had a rough or a traumatic birth process. Maybe they were dealing with a lot of newborn struggles and fussiness and inability to latch, and they weren't pooping, and then they had these immune challenges. What we see is that the problem that shows up at 6 or 10 or 15 isn't something new. There's really been a golden thread. If you know what you're looking for, if you know how to actually dig into the history, there's been a golden thread connecting so many things in their life. So that's really what's going on, right? It's not that they'll just grow out of it. So let me speak into what is at play here. More often than not, when we see these challenges happening, it's not just something that we got to wait and see for. There's a cause, right? And we've got to be asking that cause question. And we find that a lot of times it's a stressed out nervous system. It's a internal, or what you can think of maybe as your autonomic nervous system. It's an autonomic nervous system that is stuck in stress, that is stuck in that sympathetic fight or flight overdrive. And when a child is stuck in survival mode, guess what doesn't happen? All of our wellness functions, all of our growth and development. That sympathetic tone means that stuff like our gut motility, our digestion is going to get turned off or decreased. It means that our immune system is going to get weakened because we're not really in a really well-balanced state. So now we're going to be more susceptible for chronic coughs and colds and ear infections and sicknesses and illnesses that just never seem to go away. And then that's going to create neuromuscular tone and tension, right? So now our coordination is going to be off. Maybe as a little newborn, that shows up as they're holding their head up right away and they're way too stiff in their arching. Or they're tense and they can't rotate their head evenly. They have a preference, they have a favorite side. They even to the point of developing that flat spot from torticollis and plagiocephaly. They don't latch well because they have a preference left and right. Those tone issues then start showing up as delayed milestones, developmental delays, motor challenges that now maybe we never crawled, or maybe we're behind schedule when we're supposed to be learning to walk. We see these early warning signs that are precursors of these future challenges. So that's the story here, guys. The same problem, the same underlying mechanism, the same underlying neurological dysfunction manifests differently throughout the lifespan. So it doesn't do you any good to wait and see. It doesn't do you any good to just hope that they'll grow out of it, because more often than not, that just gets worse, right? What do you think is easier, to help a 2-month-old or a 6-month-old or a 2-year-old to heal and get back on track, or an 8-year-old or a 12-year-old or an older child, right? The sooner the better. The earlier you can get that kid back on track, the earlier you can calm down that neurological response, the better total outcome will be, and the easier it will happen, right? So just like the shirt says, right, the vagus nerve, we got to get that vagus nerve turned on, because what happens in Vegas, that key upper neck nerve does not just stay in Vegas. I hope this helps, guys. I hope this is the encouragement that you need. If you've been told that and it just doesn't jive with you, it doesn't sit well, share that with a friend, right? If that's you, you probably got other people in your life that are hearing that same message. Share it in the moms group, send it to a friend. We need more people empowered with the information that this isn't something that you just got to grit your teeth and bear it out, right? We've got to actually help. And if that's what you're wanting to do, if that's what you need to do to help your kid back on track, reach out. Please give our office a call, send us a message, reach out here, whatever way possible. Let's set up that complimentary consultation. Let's set up their scans so we can figure out what's actually going on.